What's up, Nick?
All right, everybody. Let Coach make an opening statement, then we'll take your questions.
Absolutely. First, I know you've all had an update with Raleigh, just obviously a huge scare out there. And with his history and everything that goes into it, seems to be something unrelated. I don't want to speak out of turn, so we'll wait till we get confirmation. Everything has been very, very positive so far, everything I've been informed of. Before he left the field, he had full movement of everything out there. So just a blessing to hopefully keep him moving in the right direction. And as far as the future or anything like that, I really don't have any idea of what that may entail or things that we got to discuss. But his health and safety is always going to be priority number one. So we'll go through that and try to keep you updated as much as we possibly can. Other than that, the only other injury popped out there today, Paul Ramirez has had an issue with his believe it's his left knee, whatever knee it was, just aggravated it again on that very specific play. He came back and hopped back in there, so we're very positive there. Really, all the other injured players, you saw Grayson Gunner, he's really, actually when we come back after a summer break, Grayson should be unlimited in all his activities moving forward. In addition to that, Dre Greenlaw, you saw him out there in full uniform. He's running, doing stuff with the trainers. He just hasn't been cleared to do anything on the field yet. Should get him back, if not at the beginning of summer, by July 1st for sure, and be full go for fall camp. So, and then Jay Red, he just out there basically had tweaked his hammy a couple weeks back. Got in a little bit of practice earlier this week on Tuesday and Thursday, a mild amount of work, but we didn't want to put him in the game or in the scrimmage-like situation today. So. Through 15 practices, couldn't be happier with the attitude, the energy, the coachability. Very, very excited about the things that we put in on the offense side of the ball, the progress that we made. Some players that, to me, that really jumped out during spring practice, just starting with the line. I thought Yelda for Holt made a big jump. I thought Johnny Gibson made a nice jump. Colton Jackson, left tackle, did some really, really good things. We got good competition going on at right tackle with Brian Wallace and Paul Ramirez. Paul was doing a lot of really good things, then actually lost his grandmother and then came back and tweaked his knee, so he kind of had a rough end there the last 2 weeks, but was doing some really good things. At tight end, I thought Austin Cantrell continued to move forward. We got to improve with him in certain regards. C.J. O'Grady had a nice spring. I think when we get Grayson Gunner back into that lineup, I think we got a chance to be pretty good. Jack Krause actually had bad ankles the last 2 weeks, so just to get him healthy and out there and functional will be a lot better as well. Wide receiver, there's no doubt Jay Red was making great strides. I think overall, some of our young guys, Deion Stewart, you saw him out there today, and LaMichael Petway are doing some good stuff. I think Brandon Martin and Jonathan Nance can help us, and there's no doubt that Jordan Jones probably had his best week here this last week. So quarterback, Austin's doing good. I thought Devwall even picked it up a little bit after the injury to Raleigh today, and Malik Williams didn't really have a flashy day today, but he's been a pretty impressive guy so far, and Kendrick Jackson did a nice job at fullback. Defensively, just overall, I thought our guys communicated, anticipated, made breaks on balls. Up front, we're getting penetration. Just really excited about the group. Don't really want to it's a no-name group, man. They're not an all-star guy. Everybody's just kind of a lunch pail crew that goes to work. And I think in the back end, those guys are playing aggressive. Paul's done a really good job. They're playing as good a football. At corner, Ryan and Andre are playing really, really good. K. Rich at corner and nickel. And then our three safeties between Josh Williams, DeAndre Coley, and Santos Ramirez have really had a nice spring. So I'm excited to see this group go. And actually, Blake Johnson, after the extreme timeout we talked about, had hit the ball really well in the punt game. We just were inside today. We don't punt the ball just from it hits the ceiling, it's on the ground. It's a bad situation. So I was excited. Started off the day. We had 50-plus yard field goals out of both guys, and they've been stroking the ball pretty good as well. So a lot of positives. We'll take that into the summer. We did announce our captains, K. Rich and Santos Ramirez on defense, Frank Ragnow and Austin Allen on offense. A lot of other guys got votes on both sides of the ball. Jay Red on offense, Raleigh Williams on offense, Yelda for Holt on offense. On defense, Dre Greenlaw, Bijan Jackson, Scooter Harris. A lot of guys were getting votes, which makes you positive. But those four by far ran away with it from the rest of the team. So good to go.
Brett, considering his injury history and the fact that he had such a good year last year, did you consider not having Raleigh in or having him in the no contest?
We didn't, scrimmage him as much as we did everybody else. But today was obviously not even a full scrimmage situation. He just got spun around. And I think Raleigh would be the first to tell you that there was things that he needed to improve on, and you only get him through rep and full practice. So, the part that was unique about his career is, he had a lot of yards, got injured his first year, and then he came back and had last year, but that's really the only football he's played, because he missed such a large amount of time from the first injury. So, no.
Right, I mean, his mom was out there, and I know that's a conversation that was had before he came back.
Mm-hmm.
Expect that's another.
I'd hate to speculate. All I worry about is health right now, and then we'll cross that next bridge when it comes. Emotional as a mom would be, and then had his whole family. Actually, the whole family was in there today. They were all in my office maybe an hour before practice, not just discussing Raleigh, but there's also another little one that's a pretty good player as well. So we were having a conversation just about the future just an hour before practice.
With T.J. Hammonds, do you think of moving him more back to running back?
Nate, again, if there was something that we actually repped TJ at tailback, you saw him in there today. We wanted to give him the first 4 weeks just unlimited coaching and teaching at the wide receiver position, but this last week we had moved him back to tailback in certain plays of our offense, so that's always there. He's really good with the ball in his hands.
Fred, I may be wrong, but in the past, have you voted captains this season?
I haven't. That's a good question. See, you're pretty good. A for the day. I have not. I go back. A lot of the things that we've done now are things that I've learned along the way. I've never voted captains, but it was the way we did it when I was a player. And it gave us great leadership into the summer. One of the things I always used to say is I didn't want to hone in on certain guys being the voices too early and negate what could happen in the summer and in the fall, because that's when you grow a lot. But I really felt I'm really not shocked by the outcome of those 4 guys getting it, and I was prepared to go to 6 if there were another couple 2 that were close, but those 4 ran away with it, and I'm excited that they have that voice. It was an unbelievable day yesterday. We had 4 former players come in and talk to our guys that really gave a great message to our team about being a voice, and it was carry over to today. You're going to get me. Yep, Caven, Holmes, Hamlin, and Jackson, the cook, right? Yeah. It's the most. Huh?
Santos, out of all those guys, is maybe not as much playing time. What do you think of him getting elected?
From the day that I met Santos Ramirez to where we are today, I always thought he had a chance to be a really special player, just the way he moved physically. He's been gifted with some really very, very special things. I think he's going to be the first to tell you the growth that he's had upstairs between the years and his performance on the field is directly related. Not that he was bad before, he just, I think, all of a sudden got serious. I think he stopped playing around and became a man that wants to be great. And I'm very, very happy with his growth and excited he's voted captain. Without a doubt. I know you guys had limited, well, you were there for the scrimmages. He really has been an efficient. He's so gifted physically. Before, he's been a little bit suspect. He always just wanted to out-hit somebody. You take that Ole Miss. If you remember the end of the Ole Miss game, he knocked the ball loose, but the quarterback stayed on his. If he would have stayed on his feet, he was still running. So there's a lot of things that he improved on. I give a lot of credit to Paul on that.
How would you grade the installation of the 3-4 that you had, the progress you made, especially the last couple of weeks?
I'm really looking forward. Paul and I are going to sit down, post-spring here. I've tried to remain a little bit just observing, seeing how it's going, seeing where it's at, and I think the 2 things that jump out to me the most, the kids, the coaches are all engaged. I mean, it's just all eyes are on those coaches. They're learning it. When someone makes an error, or there's not just the coach, other players are coaching up, and I think they're all just really feeling the ability that they can play a little bit more faster and the physicality of it. A lot of times it's not the X's and O's where they line up, it's the belief in their mind. And obviously there's a big change dramatically in the number of guys up and down and all that stuff. But for the most part, you got guys that are playing some of the same techniques they played in the past, but they're just playing them better.
How weird was it not having, a real red white game and doing what you guys did?
How weird was it? I understand the question, but I mean, it was just another day. I really told our guys that it's practice 15. We do scrimmages and the red and white game because I like to see our guys in front of the crowd. We did allow our ones to play against the twos today to develop a little continuity and that, but other than being able to be in the stadium and tackled, it was just kind of practice 15 for us. So it was just normal. It was weird having those bleachers. It was weird having the SEC network. I got a little testy with the cameraman there in the first opening stages of field goal, but after that we smoothed it out.
What was his deal?
He was standing in the way of my kicker.
That's good practice.
Except for he almost tripped him in trying to build his confidence. I always yelled about his shoelaces, his socks, the size of his feet, whatever. I tried to torment him mentally, but I've never actually tried to trip him. I don't think that's advantageous.
He had the cord out there.
Yeah, he had the cord.
Did you get something out of this?
Practice 15? Oh, yeah. I think there was a lot of good things. You know, we worked again red zone, worked again on first, second, third down. We moved the ball. There's a lot of, and then individual work. You know, the part I said to our guys there at the end, we definitely got better as a football team through 15 practices, but we got better individually, what makes us better collectively. And I know you think it's coach speak, but to get kids to understand the window they have here at the University of Arkansas, whether it be 2 years left, 3 years left, 1 year left, whatever it is, they need to make daily progress. That, hey, if I'm not using my right hand well today, I need to do that to get better. And they just think it's going to happen, and it doesn't just happen. It's the process to get there, and I think they buy into it.
Jamario got a lot of
Yeah.
teamwork.
Yeah.
That nice shoulder range kind of down.
He's been like a rebirth. He's been unbelievable. I know when I first brought it up to him, he kind of gave me those big eyes, but he jumped into it 110%. Has made plays really ever since the day he got there. He had a big interception on Tuesday. He's a crowd favorite. The kids love harassing him because he loves to be harassed and give harassment as well. So he's having fun. You know, the thing I said after that second day, I just looked at him at Jamaro. I said, I love your smile, man. I haven't seen that in 2 years. He's a good athlete and almost came up with a big one again today.
But it looked like the game and maybe Ramsey, some guys got in the backfield.
Yeah.
What did you see from some of them?
Well, again, that's some of the stuff I think the 3-4 brings you, be able to bring guys from the field, from the boundary, guys up the middle. I think there's some D-line games you're talking about. Randy is a very, you know, when he pins his ear back and comes, he's a pretty hard guy to stop. And I was just getting nervous, you know, with the flush out of the pocket. But I like the ability that he brings. He's to the field a lot, but then, you know, to put him in a sub package and let him be up on the line of scrimmage is a nice little package.
Is there a
Assess the quarterbacks a little bit.
Yeah, you're good.
The quarterbacks a little bit more.
Austin, you know, today the only thing that jumped out to me one time, there was a back in the flat on first down play. I'd rather he hit that than the 15-yard comeback on a naked play. But other than that, his composure, his presence, he said some really good things vocally. You know, you always want your quarterback to be the guy that's kind of got the handle of the team, and I thought he's done that. Ty Story made a couple nice throws today. I liked that he came alive on this practice today. Cole Kelly again does a lot of really good things, and then he'll do something that just makes you pull your hair out a little bit. But he is so aggressive and his own on himself. You know, is really everything is so dramatic with him, success and failure. So those three guys I think can play good football for us. I'm really a couple walk-on guys, Carson Proctor and Jack Lindsay. Jack has probably been one of the more significant surprises of the spring. I think he's just got some moxie. He's got some things to him that obviously his grandfather and father had a little history here and show some moxie, and I think he's got all that same things. And then obviously Dalton Hyatt, he does some good stuff, man. Dalton he threw one in the end zone there in the red zone. He can't throw, but for a freshman that came here in January, should be going to prom on Saturday instead of playing in our spring game. I think he's doing a pretty good job.
How would you assess the way the linebackers are throwing this?
You know, Scuda has really been the guy that's been dominant. He actually got some, bless you, he's actually got some, got votes today as captain. I mean, so that means people are seeing him in a leadership role. He's able to dip, rip, explode. He's a very violent player. I like the growth that he's had. Grant Morgan and Josh Harris, I kind of grouped those two together. They're kind of the two non-scholarship guys that do some really good things, could help you in some capacity. I would say Kyrie Fisher has been very impressive through 15 practices. He's definitely not afraid to strike you. He gets football. He likes it. It's important to him. I really like that. I think D. Walk, number 33, we played him outside, moved him inside there at the end, and is doing some good stuff. So, and on the outside, is that what we're talking about as well? On the outside, yeah, I think at the razor position. Randy and Dwayne Eugene is playing really good football. Really like the growth that Dwayne's had. And then Hogg into the boundary or to the weak side there. Carl Ressler and Jamario really stepped into that role pretty good.
Expand a little bit more on a game today, too. He was really,
On who, buddy?
on a game, he was really.
Sosa, yeah. Sosa he's a fun player to watch. I think he really took some steps of maturity as well. You know, he's a very active player. He's very gifted. What he's got to get better at is probably straining through the difficult moments. You know, the double team, the stuff that no one likes to play, into the double teams, behind the reaches, stuff like that. But pass rush, he comes, boy, he's gifted. He's got a great motor. I think he can be a very good player.
Coach, you said a lot of good things this spring about Nance and Martin. How do you think they kind of captain?
You know, two different guys. You know, I don't want to group them together. Brandon can catch the football, looks good doing it, and does a lot of really, really good things with the ball in his hands. And Jonathan, unfortunately, about 2 weeks ago, just tweaked the back of his knee a little bit. I think played through some pain, so I think he'd been limited here the last 2 weeks. Just not had not been himself the two compared to the first three. He can really run. Is very intelligent. I think. You know, you assume JUCO guys and he's been great in the classroom, and B has done as well. So I'm excited about those two guys. I think they're going to that in the development of LaMichael Petway and Deion Stewart probably give me a lot of hope there.
What's the plan for Michael Taylor? Is he going to add more weight?
Yeah, he just feels, and he moved differently as soon as we put him down. It was brought to my attention that when we were recruiting him, that he stopped talking to schools that were playing the 3-4 because he wanted to be down on the ground and everybody wanted to play him up. So literally, when we flipped him and we put Jamario on offense over to his position on defense, and we put him down to the defensive line. Even today, I haven't seen the film yet, obviously, but he was really playing with his hands. Yeah, he was up to about 270, and then we trimmed him down. So I think he's actually happy to get back up to that 270-pound, 280, and see where it goes.
Coach, how do you think the offensive line in today, pass protection?
Well, I think, you know, you throw Frank back in there, and it allows us to be a lot different. But guys today, we threw a lot at them, and we were ones against twos, so the one D-line against one D-line or one defensive front against the twos, I knew it was going to be a little bit of an overwhelming mismatch. And then our 1-0 line, I know there was one play that Armand got his hands back there, but I think that they made some nice progress. I think we definitely got to understand what pass pro and what protections we can use and what we can't for us to move forward.
The story and Kelly, are they still even, or is total interceptions going to set in?
I think that you know, definitely right now they're even. I don't see anything dramatically different between the two, other than the fact that, you know, we'll get fall camp and those guys will get a lot of opportunities to see who can pull ahead. And at some point we got to say, hey, if something was to happen, you know, where do we go next? And I don't think I'm ready to answer that right now, or is Dan?
When it comes to backup quarterback
Yeah.
situation, do you like to, would you prefer to get that settled now, or do you want to leave it up?
I do. I think for two reasons. First, I just have always been a big believer that competition brings the best out of people. And I don't think either one of them realistically probably say, I'm going to go here today and beat Austin out. So the best way to create that competition is amongst themselves. Does that make sense? You know, so I think that part is real. And then really, I think Carson Proctor and Jack are making progress, but they're not really in their ballpark. You know, so the best way to get the most out of them is have them compete against themselves.
Brandon, in the defensive installation, what do you think you are? I mean, get enough done in this 3-4?
Yeah, we really, in the last probably 2 weeks, with different things with the defensive front, movement-wise, D-line games, the pressures, we didn't show any pressures out there today, obviously. So the pressure game that we've been able to establish, the ability to bring one of the four backers on any given play and still just have a four-man rush, I think is very, very important. We were able to get that in. I think the back end, coverage-wise, we got in everything we wanted to, even in a 2-minute offense. Well, the part that we now really got to, and we will focus in on, is, you know, obviously game planning for SEC opponents, and we did a little bit of that this last week, but be a huge emphasis in the fall.
Mark, where are you guys going now? Are you taking a week and then recruiting, or what's the case?
Yeah, the coaches, we snuck 2 days in April. You're allowed 168 evaluation days as a staff. We're down to 166. My coaches will be out every Monday through Thursday for 4 straight weeks. My coordinators are going to be in the office the first 3 days, then they'll get out. We got scheduled, I believe, to 164 days, and then the last 2 Fridays, we'll let a couple coaches go out and use those last 4 evaluation days. But then they'll be in for that last week of May, and then we go into June. And in June, because of the new rules, I was able to, I knew what was coming. The rules haven't been officially passed yet, but we got the 10 camp days, and we're doing, I believe, 5 here on campus. We're doing 1 in the Dallas area, 2 in the Houston area, 1 in Chicago, 1 in Detroit, and 1 in New Orleans. So we're going to be a little bit all over the place.
Does it take a minute or 2 to get the intensity back and focus on something like Raleigh happened?
You know, I was shook. I was really shook. I think you guys know the first time that happened, I was not. It was not an easy moment for me, and then just because of the conversation I just had a couple hours before, and to hear Raleigh's voice and the concern, but then he was like, he kept saying this is embarrassing. He kept saying this is embarrassing because he wanted to walk and they wouldn't let him walk because they were just being overly cautious and stuff. So and whether I'm just trying to console him, but also get mom and dad and have his brother and sister there. It was just. Nothing prepares you. I always say, well, I drive into work having a cup of coffee. I always say, well, what the heck's going to happen today that I have no idea is going to happen? Well, that one right there, that was it. And you got to rely on your instincts. You got to rely. So I told Dan, again, it helps having a couple guys on staff that were former head coaches. I looked at Dan, and he locked in my eyes. I said, can you gather them? So he got everybody on the 50 there. And I didn't want them going over and touching Raleigh. I could see a couple of them were starting to move. And I knew that wasn't going to be good, so I got their attention over there. I made sure everything was good, and they kind of assured me he was moving everything, and I could hear what he was saying. So I brought him over, and I just said, hey, here's what happened. They're going to take him over, but he's moving everything. He's kind of joking around. We said a prayer, and I said, is everybody ready to work? And made him say it a couple times, and then we moved on. But, yeah, it's never easy, but I think you have to understand the moment.
Is that just going to be a fun conversation? Because Riley obviously wants to play, and this sounds like it wasn't anything serious. Maybe his mom doesn't want it. Is that just, how tough is all that going to be to sort it out?
I understand you got to write an article, but I don't want to. You know what I mean? I can't really comment till I know what's going on. That'll be the #1 priority. All we want is, I love Raleigh Williams walking and talking and doing everything else. So we'll evaluate what the medical people says, and then we'll all have a conversation together and only do what's right for Raleigh. But it's probably the part of my job that everybody used to say that what keeps you up at night. Those are the things that keep me up at night. It's just my players' well-being. So we'll cross that bridge when it comes.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Players in shortly. We are going to have to pick up a majority of the chairs and put them on the back wall.